Sax, it seems like you and JCal and everyone are kind of in Miami at Art Basel, and this thing's been going on for years, and it's a art fair.
Yeah.
But it's like tech has taken it over. Like the
basically,
tech industry,
yes.
like the tech community has this kind of consistent trend of going to these like esoteric, kind of call it originally artistically created events and spaces. It was like Sundance, and then it was Burning Man, and now it's like Miami Art Basel, and kind of
ruining
like
it.
Ruining it, taking it for themselves. Or like, hey, now it's Tech Week in Miami, but it was like Art Basel's been going on for forever.
It's NFT Basel, they're calling it.
NFT Basel, yeah. Brutal. It's brutal.
It's literally...
I feel bad for all the real creatives.
Yeah, we're the ugly Americans who come in and ruin the artisanal, feel of the place and flood the place with cash. But look, no, I mean, one difference between Florida or Miami in particular and California and San Francisco in particular is nobody hates money or success over here. They are happy for, all these rich people to come in and spend their money. They really believe in capitalism over here. You've got this huge Cuban immigrant population who had direct experience with socialism, and Argentinians and people from South America. And I mean, they teach their kids in schools the evils of socialism. So yeah, nobody here is looking to purge the rich.
That's nice.
It's funny, Sax, because the Bay Area, right? The Bay Area has a huge South Asian population, right? And a huge immigrant population. Why is that not the case in California, right? Why is this huge immigrant population, whether they come from South America, Latin America, or they come from South Asia, India, China, do we not have the same sort of response here for pushback against the socialist tendencies and the push for
the big
capitalism and entrepreneurism? Yeah.
The big difference in South Florida is that those immigrant communities were politically active and got really ingrained in the political process, and so they were allowed voice. Systemically, what happens in South Asian families is we just don't do that. It's just not a thing. And in fact, if you look inside of our countries, the politicians are just the absolute sketchiest, most brutal folks. And so, when you have people that got, double E degrees from IIT, the last thing that they're thinking is like, I want to run for mayor of Santa Clara. That doesn't happen. So it's just a big cultural distinction between the Chinese and South Asian populations versus the South American populations.
I have to say, San Francisco has become truly dystopian. I went to San Francisco to see a comedy show. Hassan Minhaj, who is a big fan of this pod, he has an incredible show, by the way.
He's fabulous.
He's amazing. And he did a show about MBS and him getting into it with the Kingdom and Patriot Act, his show. It was one of the most powerful, one-man shows I've seen. It kind of transcends comedy. But I took Sonny, our friend Sonny, and we had a great time. But we walked through Union Square because we wanted to get a drink. We walked through Union Square and it was cordoned off with cop cars at every intersection, and there's no cars in the street. And I was like, what's going on? Is there some police activity? And I was like, they're like, no, the Louis Vuitton store got knocked off. I kid you not. Every single store has had every single window boarded up like it's a hurricane season, but they all did them in pitch black. So it must have been one vendor came and did this for every vendor. But Zara, The Gap, Nike, every single storefront has been boarded up. And then there are security guards outside, and you have to make an appointment to go Christmas shopping. And literally, there have road blockades of multiple cars at every intersection because these smash and grabs have become so brazen and dangerous. There were 30 or 40 people involved in that one at the Louis Vuitton store. Can you imagine you're shopping for Christmas and 40 people run through the windows?
This is the logical result of everything I've been warning about since the beginning of the year. You have prosecutors like Chesa Boudin who have essentially decriminalized theft by refusing to prosecute it. After the Louis Vuitton looting, he comes out there and says, well, don't bring this noise from out of town. That's what he calls crime, is noise. And he's trying to pretend like it didn't arise in San Francisco, like somehow it's come from out of town. No, you created it by refusing to prosecute these types of crimes. And then after talking tough, the first thing he did, he already released. The police actually caught some of these looters of the LVMH. He has already released them on zero bail. Exactly. The jail is a revolving door. They have zero bail. And so the people who did this are already out on bail. Chesa talks tough when he charges them, but the charges are never actually brought. They're played down, thrown out, and it is dystopian.
And we couldn't find a place to have a drink. Every single bar we wanted to have a post, comedy show drink. And And by the way, Hassan's a huge fan of the pod. We talked for an hour after the show. He brought us backstage. It was really class act. And we should have him on the pod at some point. Do we want to talk about Jack leaving Twitter?
Well, there's a segue here. I mean, Chamath mentioned that, you have these immigrant minorities from South Asia, I'd say Indian Americans, Chinese Americans. They've been spectacularly successful in the United States. Maybe they haven't been as politically active as, say, the Cuban Americans or Argentinian Americans in Florida, but they've been incredibly successful. You had another example of that this week with Jack leaving Twitter. His replacement is Parag Agarwal. He's an Indian American. So you now have, Indian immigrants, I guess first or second generation, running Google with Sundar, Satya Nadella at Microsoft, the CEO of Adobe, Shantanu Narayan, the CEOs of MasterCard, Nokia, NetApp, and IBM, all Indian Americans. So there's no question that people of color can be spectacularly successful in the United States. And I think those communities are
Don't mess with the Browns.
Hold on. Those communities are so busy availing themselves of the abundant opportunities for success in this country that they haven't been basically involved in politics because they haven't been complaining about anything. They've just been succeeding.
Too busy winning. Yeah. There's a viral joke. You live, if you're a CEO in Silicon Valley, you live long enough to see yourself replaced by an Indian CEO. That trended.
Hallelujah.
Like, look, you have Satya, Sundar. There's like 4 or 5 other examples, but it's now just absolutely a great triumph. It's amazing for our society that a lot of people who are immigrants or sons of immigrants come here and run the largest, most dynamic, important companies in the world. This is an incredible win. And we have to reboot immigration in this country. I believe in this very strongly, that we need to get more intelligent people here. And if you come here for your degree, we need to staple a green card to your degree when you come up and pick it up on stage at Stanford or Harvard or whatever, community college. You should stay here and build companies here. We have to really open that up. That was one of the huge failings of the Trump presidency, and now going into Biden, who doesn't seem to care about immigration either. Both of these people is huge fails. Both parties do not want to bring intelligent people here